திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். ஆடம்பரிவேல் அணி சேவல் என பாடும் பணியே பணியாய் அருள்வாய். தேடும் கயமா முகனை செருவில் சாடும் தனியானை சகோதரன். திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். பொய்கண்டார் காணா புனிதமெனும் ஒத்துவித மெய்கண்ட நாதன் அருள் மேவனாள் என்னாள். திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். அண்ட சராசரங்களுக்கெல்லாம் அதிபதியாக விளங்கக்கூடிய முருகப்பெருமானுடைய ஒப்பற்ற பெரும் கருணையினாலே ஞானத்திரள் சார்பாக த பிலாசபி ஆஃப் சைவ சித்தாந்தம் என்கிற தலைப்பில் முதல் சாப்டர் சோல் என்பதை பற்றி நாம் இன்றைய தினம் சிந்திக்க தொடங்குவதற்கு திருவருள் கூட்டியிருக்கிறது. The whole world can be classified or broadly classified under two headings. One is animated, the other one is the inanimated. The animated world consisting of the living things and the inanimated worlds, non-living things. So we can just by watching or inspecting, we can conclude a thing in this world, whether it is animated or inanimated, that is, whether it's a living thing or is a non-living thing. So that is the major two classifications of the things we associate in this world. The inanimated things, we can watch that they don't participate in the world's activities and they are tools and helping aids for the living beings. What makes the major difference between inanimated and the animated things in this world? How do we differentiate a living thing and a non-living thing? A living thing participates, functional, is active, and it participates in the world's activities. So all these things we can think of the difference between the inanimated and animated things. So what is the difference means? The living things are active, non-living things are the inert articles are inactive, isn't it? So what is the difference between the living things and non-living things? Functional wise, if we just consider that there should be something responsible for the activities of the living things. It is because non-living things and the living things designated by their bodies, tattvas, tools, whatever you call, they are made up of the same material. The basic five elements, earth, water, fire, wind, and the space. These five are responsible, or they are the total body or anything in this world is consisting of these five basic elements in different proportions. That's all. If you just take the living things and non-living things, or the construction, the structure wise, the non-living things are made up of five elements, and the living things bodies, they are also made up of these five basic elements. So the physical appearance, the body wise, or the external appearance, the body of living things, or the structure of the body of the living things is made up of these basic five elements. And if you go and analyze any particle, any article, anything in this world which is inactive, it is made up of these five basic elements. Okay, then a human body is made up of five elements, and the world's inactive things are also made up of five elements. And what is the difference between a human and a inactive or inadvertent things in this world? We can explain the functions of the human living things, human things, everything. We can explain the functions, we can attribute to the functional activities of living things only to one aspect, that is, the living things, they are controlled by another factor which is inside the living things, which are called souls. So animated things, inanimated things, we can classify that animated things are driven or active because of soul, and inanimated things don't possess a soul. The soul is responsible for the activities, and we should come to a conclusion that souls are there. There is a soul. The soul is responsible for the function of the living things. Every living thing is possessing a soul, or we can say that the soul is the master of the body. The soul drives, uses whatever you call the body, and it is being functional, and it acts the way in which it has likes and dislikes. Our aim in this session is to establish that there is a soul, and there are innumerable souls in this world which are responsible for the activities in the whole world going on. Some people don't believe in the existence of soul. There is no soul at all, they claim. But that's not true. Because what is the thing that makes the difference between a living thing and a non-living thing is only the soul. See, if you just see a rock, and if you just see a dog, what is the difference between the rock and the dog? The soul inside the dog. So the ultimate decision, souls are there. They are being provided with bodies, and they operate the bodies according to their likes and dislikes. They are active, they are functional, they execute duties, and because of their deeds they get the yield, they get the result. So all these conclusions we are making using our inferences in this world. So it's a common sense that we must come to a conclusion that non-living things are different from the living beings only because of a soul. In Tamil it is called Uyir. You may call it as Anma. So the first conclusion about the soul is responsible for the activities and functional behavior of the living things. Which reason you can attribute to the functional behavior of the living things unless otherwise you accept the theory of a soul. So the soul is inside a body structure and it makes the body to be useful and it functions. Because of its function, the body moves, the active, executes so many actions in this world only because of the soul. So the first inference, the first decision is the existence of soul is to be accepted for the functional behavior of the living things in the world. Okay. Now we come to the conclusion that there are souls. The second conclusion, the very important conclusion in Saiva Siddhantam is, can we count the number of souls? No. We cannot count the number of souls. They are numberless, innumerable. That's how the Saiva Siddhantam philosophy claims that we cannot count the number of the souls. We cannot count the number of births and deaths taken by the soul, each soul. It's innumerable. Why it takes so many births? That we are going to discuss shortly. Before that, we are going to arrive at another conclusion. The first conclusion is between the active and inactive things, that is living things and non-living things. What is the reason being attributed to the functional behavior of the living beings, living things? Any common man, any man who accepts the soul or who accepts God, who may not accept God, who may not accept soul, but he has to accept one basic factor, that there is a difference between living things and non-living things. He has to accept. But somehow or other he must attribute to the difference, the factor for the difference. The soul is the only explicable factor that is responsible for the activities of the living beings. Okay. Now let us go to the second important conclusion that we have to make about the souls. Take for examples some human beings. We accept that the living beings, they are living beings. Okay. They have souls. That is also accepted. They are functional, they are operating, they are active, they do deeds in this world. All these because of the souls in them. Okay. The difference between the living beings and the non-living beings are functional behavior. We have discussed already. This functional behavior, it is not random, it is not non-systematic, but only systematic behavior. So we come to the conclusion that souls are inherently possessing wisdom. The souls are inherently possessing the wisdom which make them active and responsible for the systematic behavior of of their living activities in this world. Because if they are, the soul is the responsible for the functional behavior of the living being, the functional behavior is systematic. Is it not? The functional behavior is systematic. Why it is systematic? Because the driving force is possessing a wisdom. So the another conclusion that we come to know about the soul is having or possessing wisdom inherently. Or otherwise we can also put it like this, that is, the soul is a wisdom made up of thing. Wisdom made up of thing. In Tamil it is being said as Arivu Porul. We cannot compare soul with the worldly matter which is made up of basic 5 elements. You understand? Don't compare the structure of the soul to a structure of an atom or a molecule or a matter in this world. You cannot compare. You don't have the facility to compare, to understand the structure of the soul, and we cannot compare it to a structure of the worldly materials. Worldly materials are made up of basic 5 elements that we have already discussed. But whereas soul is using the body to be functional, to be active in this world, that we understand. So inside a living being there is a soul which makes use of the body structure to be active in this world. So the first conclusion we made, that soul is the responsible for the difference between active and inactive, or living or non-living, or animated or inanimated things. The second thing we want to conclude is the soul is possessing wisdom. According to its wisdom, it uses its structure, body structure, for its activities in this world. So all souls are possessing wisdom. Unless otherwise they possess the wisdom, they are nothing but non-living things. So when we call soul, we call it by the name soul, but it is made up of wisdom. It is made up of wisdom. So the second conclusion is soul is one which has basically a wisdom which makes it possible to make use of the structure, to be active, to be functional. Okay, now we have arrived at 2 basic conclusions about the soul based on philosophy of the Saiva Siddhantam. Okay, we will go to the next point. Okay, we have 5 or 6 living things, 5 or 6 human beings. Let us take for example, they are functional. Their behavior is decided by the souls inside them. So souls are inside the bodies of the living things. They are responsible for the human behavior or the functional behavior. Okay. But or the functional behavior are alike. Every human being behaving in the same manner. Why the functions are different? The functions are only due to the souls inside them. Okay. The souls are with wisdom inherently. Okay. But the behavior, if you just study the behavior, are they having the same behavioral pattern? Some people like music, some people don't like music, some people like water, some people don't like swimming. All these likes and dislikes. Why the variations? Why there are a lot of variations between the living things? Now, I have taken for example the human beings. Take for any living things. Their basic behavior may be uniform, but there are a lot of differences in their likes and dislikes, which are due to the wisdom of the souls. So we come to a conclusion, another important conclusion that the soul's wisdom level are not equal. The wisdom levels are not equal. Wisdom levels are not equal means what does it mean? You must understand. See, the maturity, we can term it as maturity. Some people behave more maturely, whereas some people behave immature. Their immature behavior we may witness. What causes the difference between their wisdom? Then we come to the conclusion, that important conclusion, that wisdom levels are not equal, they are different. You understand? As far as Saiva Siddhantam is concerned, I am just quoting from the basic facts from the philosophy of Saiva Siddhantam to define. We are trying to define, understand the details of a soul. First of all, we must accept that there is a soul. Why I am quoting this? Because some people don't accept there are souls. They don't accept there are souls. There is only world. There is only the world. They don't accept there is a soul inside responsible for the behavior of the living things. They don't accept. But we have clearly explained that living beings and non-living things, they are different. They are different only because of the soul inside a living thing, which drives, which operates, which makes use of the structure. You take for example a car. What do you call a car? A living thing or a non-living thing? Is a living being or a non-living thing? Is it animated or inanimated? Definitely we will say that car is not possessing any wisdom. But if the car is to be driven, it should be driven only by a living being, a human being. The human being is operating the car systematically. He drives the car, speeds it up, applies the brake whenever it is required. All these things, rules are followed not by the car but by the man who is driving the car. Car doesn't know any rule. It may hit anybody. But who is responsible for the systematic behavior of the car? The systematic behavior of the car is due to the systematic behavior of the driver. The driver is animated, a living being, a soul with a wisdom. Suppose the car goes and makes an accident, let us say. What do you say? The living being is responsible for the accident, not the car. So you understand that the souls, they are with the wisdom, they have to behave systematically, but we find that the behavioral levels are different between the living beings only because of the wisdom levels. Wisdom levels are different. So there is a soul. The soul is with the wisdom. The wisdom is in a different level of maturity or different level of maturity. That is the right term we can put forth now. Okay. Now we have arrived at 3 conclusions about the soul. Okay. The levels are different. We have come to the conclusion. The functional behavior of living beings are not the same. Alike. Okay. The 4th important conclusion that we have to come now is about the soul is having wisdom. Soul is functional. Soul makes use of the body. Okay. The living beings are active in this world. They are functional. They execute so many deeds. Okay. Our question is, the living beings being functional, we must understand or we must ask a question, are the living beings functional all the time? Any living being is functional all the time, or its functional levels are intermittent. Of course, the living beings are active for a certain period and they take rest. That's what we call. The humans, they go to sleep. You call it as a rest. Okay. At that time, what happens? My question is, when the living beings or a human being, let us take for example, if it is taking a rest, what is the status of the soul? We must understand the external structure, the body, the physical body, external structure is non-functional. It is not participating in any activities of this world. It is not getting any experience during the sleeping time. Okay, it takes rest. My question is, we are talking about or we are studying about the behavior of the body, but what about the soul inside? Do you mean to say that, do you claim that soul is also sleeping? Do you want to attach the status of sleep to the soul? Or do you want to attach the status of sleep to the body? If you just see, even though the physical body is taking rest, it's not participating in world's activities, it is non-functional, the soul is still inside the body. That we accept, isn't it? So the soul is very much inside the body, and it is having the wisdom, but it is not able to participate in the world's activities. It is non-functional. Now we have to analyze this fact and come to an important conclusion that the body is only taking rest and the soul inside is not at all taking any rest. It is not being attached to the status of sleep. So the soul with the wisdom, it is still inside the body, but it is not able to get any experience, or it is not able to function in this world because it is being detached from the physical body. So the soul is temporarily detached during sleep status from the body. I am just crudely explaining. I am not going into the inner details. It should be explained with more details. There are 5 status the philosophy of Saiva Siddhantam gives, that we will be explaining in later stages. First, let us say that we are in the awakening stage. The awakened stage, the soul is able to use the body to get experience in this world. But once the body goes to the status of sleep or state of sleep, it is not able to function. The wisdom is not functional. So we come to the conclusion, the important conclusion, that the wisdom of the soul should get the aid or assistance of the body to be functional. Even though the souls are blessed with the superstructure, the human structure, the body. I am just referring all the details to your human body. Later on we can explain with the other living things also. The same explanation can be given to the behavior of other living beings also. To make us easily understand, I have taken the example of a human being so that you will be able to appreciate and understand the behavior of the soul in a more clear manner. That's all. Okay. Now we have come to some important conclusions, 4 conclusions derived out of the basics of this philosophy of Saiva Siddhantam. The first one is souls are there. Souls are possessing inherently wisdom. They are not separable. Why I am insisting inherently means you cannot separate the soul from its wisdom. You understand? You cannot think of a soul without its wisdom. It's an inherent property of the soul. Inherent property of the soul is wisdom. Okay. Now there is the concept of soul. Soul exists. Souls are innumerable, numberless. Souls are there. Souls are possessing wisdom inherently. They are gifted with the superstructure as a human body. They use the human body according to their wisdom level, and they get experience in this world. They participate in the functions of the world. World functions, the souls are associating with the world's activities only through that physical structure, body. They see through their eyes, this world. They hear the sounds in this world through their ears. Likewise. Okay, souls, they get experience from this world using their physical body. Now we have also derived another conclusion that the wisdom levels are different. That is the third conclusion. The fourth one we have derived is the souls need the assistance or the aid of the physical structure to be operational, to be functional, to behave in this world. They may be wise, but they need the help of the body. They need the help of the human body structure to get experience in this world, to execute deeds in this world. If we just think of the wisdom requires the help of the inanimated things, things without wisdom. Things without wisdom. It requires the body. You take, for example, the body. The body doesn't have any wisdom at all, like a car. It doesn't have any wisdom. The soul is having the wisdom. But the wisdom to be operational or functional only is made possible only if it is associating with the body. So the sleep is the state. The wisdom gets temporarily detached from the body of the human so that it becomes non-functional. It is not participating in the operation of the world. If it is basically a wisdom thing, possessing a wisdom, without the help of the inanimated things, it should be able to get experience, execute things, to be joyful, sorrowful. All these things should happen to the soul because it is possessing the wisdom. But it is not happening when the body is detached from the soul. If it is in sleep mode, if the soul is in sleep mode, it doesn't have any joy or any sorrow. The soul doesn't experience any happiness or any sorrow. Why it happens? The wisdom is being detached from the body. That is why it is not experiencing. Our question is, why the wisdom requires the help of inanimated things? That is our question. Then we come to the conclusion that the wisdom needs the experience, needs the assistance, it needs the aid of the inanimated things, means it is the defect in the wisdom. Then we come to the conclusion, there is a defect in the wisdom, there is a defect. Can we call it as ignorance? Or can we name it as darkness? Whatever you want, you can just call it. That darkness, I may even say that human wisdom plunges into the darkness once it leaves the body, whether temporarily or permanently. Sleep mode is only a temporary disconnection between the soul and the body. It's only a temporary disconnection. There are three links between the soul and the body. The Saiva Siddhantam claims only 3 links out of the 35 links, which establishes the connection between the soul and the body. There are 35 links in a group. They establish the connection between the soul and the body. Out of the 35 links, we are going later on. We are going to get all explanations about the 35 links at a later stage. First, you please understand that there are 35 links connecting the soul with the body. Out of the 35, in the sleep mode, only 3 links are there. So that is why I am quoting it as a temporary disconnection. It's a disconnection. Even if the 3 links are disconnected, If the three links are disconnected, then it goes to the death mode, the total darkness mode. Okay, in sleep mode, the death mode is known as Turyadidam. The coma stage is called Turyam. The sleep mode is called Urakam. Turyam means the four. Number 4 is called Turyam. Ekam, Duvitam, Triyam, and then Trayam. Trayam and Duvitam. Trayam means 3. Duvitam. Turyam. Duvitam 2, Turyam 4. Then you just understand the fourth state, Turyam. It's only a coma or a faint state. Okay, let us go to that explanation later on. First, let us concentrate on the third state, sleep. In sleep mode, only 3 links are there, and we can say that it is a trial of death stage. Trial of death stage. Uranguvathu polum saakadu. It's more or less a death, because you don't have any attachment to these world activities. You don't understand. You don't know what happens around you. All those things are happening in that mode. So now we understand that the wisdom level of the soul, goes to a deep darkness stage, and the wisdom is being encompassed by the darkness, so that the soul is not at all operational, functional, and you can just compare the soul to a vessel immersed in the deep well. It lies down there, waiting for the body to be attached to its wisdom. So the fourth conclusion that we have come about the soul is, I am going to give the conclusions one by one, so that if you just list them out, you will be able to understand what Saiva Siddhantam claims as a soul, and the properties and the behavioral properties of soul in as far as Saiva Siddhantam is concerned, as far as the philosophy of Saiva Siddhantam is concerned. In the next session, I am going to present you a chart including all these properties, how the Saiva Siddhantam, the philosophy of Saiva Siddhantam explains the behavior of the soul. It's a very important chapter. It's a very important chapter in philosophy of Saiva Siddhantam. Because there are 3 entities in Saiva Siddhantam. There are only 3 entities in the Saiva Siddhantam. That is why it is called a Mupporul Unmai. The basic 3 entities are Pati, Pasu, Pasam. Pati, the Almighty. Pasu, the soul. Pasam, the ignorance. Ignorance makes the soul to be sorrowful, to suffer, and the philosophy of Saiva Siddhantam says that Pati, the Almighty, helps the soul to get out of the ignorance or the darkness. How do we know that the soul has a darkness in its wisdom? It is being proved every day when we go to sleep. What happens when we go to sleep? Do we say that the soul is going to sleep? No. The body is going to a sleep mode. It goes to the sleep mode, leaving the soul to be plunged into the darkness. or ignorance. Unless otherwise, it gets the help of the body, it gets the help of the tools of the body. It is not able to get any experience. It cannot see, it cannot sing, it cannot be angry, it cannot feel the starving, anything. Only when it is attached to the body, all these experiences are happening to the soul. So what we have come to what is the conclusion that we have come is that the soul's wisdom level, or the souls are plunging into darkness, their wisdom are covered, encompassed by the darkness during sleep mode. It happens every day, and by that we are able to understand that the wisdom of the soul are being gifted with the body. They are being gifted with the body. Don't say that the body is a curse to the body, to the soul. Body and its tools are not, you should not claim it as a curse or curses to the soul. No. The soul understands so many things. It gets matured. Its wisdom level is matured only by getting a superstructure, getting its wisdom help, getting its wisdom functional. Otherwise, the soul's wisdom is not functional unless otherwise it is being attached to a body. So the body is a gift. But that gift is offered for a certain period. It's a limited period only it is available. It's a limited period it is available for the soul's wisdom. Limited period available. Soul's wisdom gets the experience. And its ignorance level is being reduced in every birth because of its experiences. That is the project of the Almighty. The Almighty, since the wisdom of the soul, they are being affected. Can we call it as infected? Yes, we can call it. The soul's wisdom are infected by the ignorance. So to get out of the infection, the soul's wisdom should get cleared, then only it is qualified to enjoy the eternal bliss of the Almighty. Unless otherwise it is pure. It is getting cleared out of the impurity. It is not qualified to enjoy the total bliss of the Almighty. Almighty is ready to offer its total bliss to the souls. It doesn't require the physical structure made out of these basic 5 elements. Once its wisdom comes to the matured level, gets out of the ignorance, gets out of the darkness totally, means it doesn't require this status at all. Why it must take a birth? That is why our mentors, our ancestors, they quote the Saiva Siddhantam philosophy and they say, use your birth to get the clarity in your wisdom level. Don't think that living in this world for a short period is to enjoy this worldly of things which are time limited, short lived. If you enjoy your food, it's short lived. It doesn't last for even 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Then what happens? Likewise, I just quoted the example of eating. You take for any example, any other thing. They are short-lived. All these experiences in this world are short-lived. But whereas the Almighty offers the eternal bliss. He is ready to offer, and He is expecting us to get out of the darkness soon. He is ready to help us. He is helping us. So, when we say that the soul's wisdom plunges into the darkness, once it gets detached from the body, it is not operational, it is not functional, it is not able to participate in the activities of the world once it gets detached from the body, which happens in the sleep mode. Okay, now comes the fifth question, the fifth important conclusion. Now we say that soul is with wisdom, and we say that the body is without wisdom. You clearly understand. There are two things. One is animated, another one is inanimated. The soul is animated. The physical body is inanimated. Now we are witnessing, we are seeing that this animated soul is being attached to the inanimated physical structure. Who does this? How it happens? You just ask a question whether you made it by yourself. Can you claim, I, the soul, I chose this body. I just traveled to my mother's home. I got the body. Can you claim like that? Is it your personal wish? Is it your personal likings and dislikings? Do they play a role in your birth? Not at all. You have not chosen your parents. You have not chosen your birthplace. You have not chosen the environmental or the things that you live. You have not chosen. You have been given these circumstantial, all these details are given to you. The physical structure also given to you. Then the major question comes, who is responsible for this bondage of the animated and inanimated thing? Who drove the soul into the human body? Who is responsible? How did the physical structure being selected for a particular soul? A soul finds a place in a dog's body. Another soul finds an elephant body. Another soul finds a bird structure. How does it happen? Do they happen randomly, or any system being followed? Which soul should be offered? Which body structure? If you just ask these questions, then you will be driven to seek facts in our ancestors' findings. They have made a lot of research and they have made a lot of theories, and they have been gifted by the God's blessings, and they have formulated a lot of details so that we will be able to understand and appreciate, so that we can make our life meaningful. That is a very important thing. See, what is the point in studying so many things? What is the point in making, or what is the point in getting the knowledge of so many things? The only thing is making our life meaningful. It should be meaningful. When our lives come to an end in this world, we must have a satisfaction that this life has been lived by me in a meaningful way. My wisdom has reached a good level. I have driven the ignorance out of my mind. Those satisfactory decisions or satisfactory feelings you must arrive at the time of our life coming to an end in this world. So the life should be meaningful. That is why we are equipped with so many books, songs, all those things we are equipped. But we should have time to spare for all these things. Why we have come here, how we have come here. As a soul, have I understood me? As a soul, have I understood myself? Leave alone others. Others are knowing me only by my body, not by my soul. Manivasagar used to say in Tiruvasagam, Nanar, en ulamar, en jnanangalar, என்னை யார் அறிவார்? Who knows me? He is asking the question, do you know who you are? We do not know. We also think that we are the human bodies, we are using, or we are dwelling, or we are residing inside. We are not our bodies. We are going to remove this. We are going to definitely we are going to leave this body in this world and we will be going elsewhere. That is certain, is it not? Before that, we must understand that the concept of the soul, the details of the soul, the real details, real values of soul, all those things we must understand. So there are a lot of conclusions, logical conclusions, hypothetical, not hypothetical conclusions, logical conclusions have been derived in Saiva Siddhantam. The philosophy of Saiva Siddhantam gives you the details of soul logically. Now we have seen in this session about 5 important conclusions. We may continue in the next session also about the soul. The concept of soul or the existence of soul is true. There is a soul inside every living being. Number 1. Number 2, soul is with wisdom inherently. 3, the souls are innumerable and their wisdom levels are not alike. They are different. Conclusion 4, the wisdom of the soul needs the assistance of the body or a structure which doesn't possess wisdom. That is the 4th important conclusion. The 5th important conclusion is there is a darkness, ignorance, defect in the wisdom of the soul. So the whole life, the point of attaching the body to a soul is to enlighten the wisdom out of the darkness so that the soul will try to null away, to clear the darkness in its wisdom slowly by getting experiences. Once it leaves the body, it gets detached from the body. The soul plunges into darkness, or its wisdom plunges into darkness, and it is becoming inactive. So it needs the body. So there the period in which the soul is going to use the body is limited. After certain period, it is 100% sure that the soul will leave the body and again it will go to darkness. Because even if it is temporarily detached in sleep mode, it goes to darkness. If it is in a fainted stage, it goes to a darkness. then what will happen in death mode? It will plunge into the darkness unless otherwise God comes forward and offers another body to the soul. The soul till that time it will be in darkness, in ignorance. So all these 5 conclusions we have made, you just ponder over, think over, spare time to view all these details, and then we will continue our session in Soul, chapter 1, next week also. And I have to thank the Qatar couple, Mr. Saravanan and Mrs. Saravanan. They have taken a lot of efforts. They have a lot of confidence with me, and they have requested me. And they have offered me the project. I do not know whether the project is going to be successful or not, but God will make it successful, because we are all trying our level best to put forth the details in the philosophy of Saiva Siddhantam, so that all souls get benefited out of the sessions. Okay, once again, I want to conclude this session with the uttering of Namah Shivaya Mandiram 5 times. I request you to kindly follow after me. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Tiruchitrambalam. I once again thank the assistance offered by my technical people to make this session feasible and possible. I have to thank one and all who are all witnessing this session. They will be definitely benefited, and they will be bestowed upon with the blessings of Lord Shiva. Never forget the Panchaksharam, the mandram that will safeguard us. Always utter this mantra for your safety, security, and health and wealth. Thank you. We will meet in the next session. தென்னாடுடைய சிவனே போற்றி, எந்நாட்டவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி, வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு அரோகரா. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம்.